Welcome again to HIS PCR 872 History of Africa to 1875. Today we will focus on two themes. One, sources available to the historian. Two, historiography. And the question again is, what are the sources available to the historians of Africa to reconstruct the past, to write a flawless analysis of events of the past and indeed the present? We also will ask the question, what is historiography? Have you ever wondered what is the hallmark of an archaeologist, of an architect, of a lawyer or barrister? Historiography is the hallmark of historians' arts and crafts. And we'll come back to that. So today, let's focus on the sources. What exactly and how exactly do historians go about their profession? They rely on sources, whether diluted or undiluted. It's like you getting to, let's say, Tafawa Balewa Square in Lagos, and you need to go to Tinubu Square. You will need to ask for directions, right? Exactly, the historians do ask for direction. And that direction is what we call sources available to the historian. There are primarily two sources. One, the primary sources that include oral traditions, because of the absence in most parts of pre-colonial Africa, the act of writing. Oral tradition became so significant also to debunk Eurocentric and Hamitic hypotheses about African past, particularly during our period, that is before 1875. We also have archaeology. Archaeology is a scientific excavation of an area, looking for artifacts and painstakingly dating those, through carbon-14, those artifacts. And it also helps in the reconstruction of that particular people, society, community, kingdom, or empire, as the case may be. There is also ethnographic and anthropological source, which primarily is to dig deep and deeper amongst that case study and then reconstruct, utilizing other primary sources as well, like the oral tradition. In recent time, we have oral history. So the distinction between oral tradition and oral history is the fact that the former, that is the oral tradition, is applied or applicable to pre-writing Africa. And oral history applies to contemporary times, what we call the modern time. But both are still what? Primary sources available to the historians. The historians also rely on secondary sources, and these are published works, articles in journals, textbooks, monographs, okay? Such secondary sources rely on primary sources, such as oral tradition, oral history, ethnographic, anthropological uh, works, diaries, newspapers, all forms of primary sources to write or to reconstruct, first of all. Once those are gathered, and then they move on to the level of production, which is the writing. And that brings us to the second theme or focus for today, historiography. Historiography. As some of you will know, jurisprudence, for instance, is the hallmark of the legal profession. All law students must offer and pass jurisprudence. The same thing with historiography. Today, we're just going to scratch the surface. And by definition, historiography means the art and science of reconstructing and writing history. It is predicated on objectivity. The historian in you must be objective. When you use the primary sources, the secondary sources to reconstruct a case study, you must be objective. So objectivity is the hallmark of a critically written historical text that is unambiguous, that is succinct, lucid, and very, very clear and easy to understand, just like this class since we started. So these two are crucial, but historiography also depends on sub-themes, if we can use that word. It depends on periodization. You see, the historian, and in this class, you will not be learning general because we cannot understand issues, events, personalities when we just decided to write in a general form. Historians are also conscious, based on historiographical ethics, on periodization. Whether you talk about prehistorical times, that is before the Stone Age, you talk about the Bronze Age, you talk about the Iron Age, all of these ages are also not unique to Africa. This periodization, I needed to remember that. They are not unique to Africa. They are historians' tool to ensure that our reconstruction, the research is based on periods. For instance, you can study the period between 1960 and 1970, as opposed to trying to study between 1960 and 2020 in any given society or issues. Okay, that is why periodization is central to historiography. And I've highlighted some of the periods in African history that are so germane to our understanding, particularly the dichotomy between the Eurocentric and the Afrocentric schools of thought. So you gather the sources, which could be primary and secondary, and then you move on to what I'll call the production line by synthesizing, analyzing, evaluating those primary and secondary sources. And then you will have gotten to the end of production with a finished product when you imbibe objectivity in your historiographical writing. of the subject, person, or any other focus that you choose to. So I want to thank you for coming to class today. I really appreciate you. And definitely we will be talking more about sources available to historians in a more applied manner, historiography also in a more applied manner. But I want you to take note of the text, the reading that I posted. You read them, and then you respond to that, chat forum, discussing the debate between Afrocentrics and Eurocentrics. Because this particular focus today, this lecture, will really help you in dissecting the two schools of thought, and also will give credence to the Afrocentric. That, of course, you all know by now that I am an Afrocentric scholar. Okay, and I'll see you at another day, another time. Thank you for coming to class. Remain peaceful. Use your face mask. The COVID-19 is real. Thank you. I am Professor TJ, and I wish you well. Bye-bye.